ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Well, there's plenty for these two guys to see here tonight, no doubt about it. John Harbaugh, the third longest tenured head coach in the NFL, behind Belichick and Tomlin, and Ron Rivera in his fourth year with the Commanders, long time with the Carolina Panthers, took his Panthers to the Super Bowl back in 2015. But I think it's fair to say a lot of the members of the Commanders on the field, off the field, in the coach's box, and as the head coach are all auditioning for a new owner.
Well, that's for sure.
Ravens won the toss, they receive, and they'll start at the 25. Well, who's at quarterback? You've got Josh Johnson. And Josh Johnson in his 10th season, but there isn't a more well-traveled quarterback maybe in the history of the league. He has bounced around. Last time we saw him, or at least I did, was in the NFC Championship game when he came in to take over for the injured Brock Purdy. But he's smart. He can pick up an offense fast. He's proven that year after year, team after team, and he starts his night with a handoff to Justice Hill, and the running back for the Ravens gets 10.
Yeah, I think Josh Johnson, you look at him and you know what he is playing for here in this game tonight. I know Tyler Huntley, he got injured in the last preseason game. We won't see him, but that is a competition between those two. After the performance that Huntley had, you'd feel like with the continuity that he brings in that quarterback room that it's his job to lose, but it's a big night for Josh Johnson.
Hill got 10. Johnson throws, and it's incomplete at the 40, and that for Charlie Kohler, the tight end. Mark Andrews was here, went through the pregame warm-ups. He will not play. Isaiah Likely is a bit banged up. They do expect him to play. And you saw Zay Flowers when the offense took the field, the electrifying rookie wearing number 4, and I'm anxious to watch him go to work tonight.
He's done some good things already in camp. He's a highlight reel in practices. He's got off to a good start in preseason game, and I'm looking forward to watching him tonight as well.
Johnson, quick throw, pass is caught. There he is. Zay Flowers has got another Ravens first down, gets 11. A missed tackle by fellow rookie Emmanuel Forbes Jr. and a gain of 11.
Well, you see the matchup. You got rookie on rookie, Emmanuel Forbes there for the Commanders, and that could be a pretty good matchup because as much speed as Flowers has, Forbes really kind of sat on that a little bit, and Flowers, as he has shown, he can really get up on defenders in a hurry, and if that's how Forbes is going to play, I would expect them to take a deep shot on him pretty soon.
Little play action from Johnson. He hits Hill out of the backfield, and Justice Hill has another Ravens first down. Pretty good start to this possession for the Ravens out of the gate, a gain of 14 here. Zay Flowers, 22nd overall pick from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, one of 14 kids. And when you talk to the members of the offensive staff for the Ravens, they'll tell you he was very well coached along the way out of Boston College, but it may even predate those days. First down for the Ravens, and a handoff is to Hill. Been busy, gets to the edge. And Justice Hill has got another first down as he picks up 16 over the left side.
Really nice job. You got Wild Goose who comes up and he loses contain. And you see then that Hill, with his speed, he's able to get out on the edge. That running back situation for Baltimore looked like he was fine. I couldn't tell if he came up, and no, he's good to go.
I think he's just out of gas.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon is taken over. Johnson fakes it to him, and there's Flowers, his second catch. Zay Flowers cuts and in for the touchdown. No flags. That's about as good a week 2 in a preseason game start that you can have, and the Ravens get the score on a 26-yarder to the rookie Zay Flowers.
But they kind of stack Zay Flowers, and they run a vertical with the inside receiver, and it's just totally a bust on the Commanders in the secondary. They turn him loose. He's able to get the easy completion, and it's a dynamic guy once he gets the ball in his hands. So that's a pretty good start to this ball game here tonight for the young rookie.
A little late with getting a member of the field goal unit out there for the extra point for Tucker. What a start. The Ravens 6 plays. They got 5 first downs on that opening possession, and Zay Flowers says, "You're going to have to pay a little bit of attention to me," number 4. And for Josh Johnson, the vet, been at it a long time. That had to feel good. 7-zip. Ravens on top. Rookie class took a bus tour of their new home, visiting the historical sites of our nation's capital. Plenty to see in Washington, D.C. And the defense just saw plenty of the Baltimore Ravens and Josh Johnson, Justice Hill, and Zay Flowers. And now we'll see if, well, Jack Del Rio's trying to figure it out. We'll see if the Commanders can answer.
Well, we talked about Todd Monken, and one of the things he wants to do is get the ball to his playmakers and let them run. And that was pretty evident on that touchdown by Flowers.
No return here as Kaz Allen was back waiting for it. He stays away, and here he is. I know you've watched plenty of tape, Troy, on Sam Howell. What do you see when you turn it on?
Well, I like him, and it's limited in what you're able to see of him going back to last year. He had that Week 18 start against Dallas, and he did some good things. He did some not so good things, but overall, when I watch him, I think he really does a good job of processing the offense. He gets through his reads, and I know going back to college, the report on him, just a real gym rat. He's tough, he's smart, and he's earned the respect of the players in that locker room already.
Here is a handoff to Robinson, and Brian Robinson Jr. over the right side gets one.
I think a lot of these guys, Joe, that come into the league, they just do not have a lot of reps under their belt in college, and he's unique in that way. He was a 3-year starter. He won the starting job as a true freshman and did a lot of good things. And after his second season, his sophomore year, a lot of people projected him as a future first-round pick. Thought he was really talented, lost some key players to injury and then graduations. His third year wasn't quite as good as his second year, and he falls to the 5th round.
Handoff to Robinson again. 2 plays, 2 carries by Robinson out to the 31, gets 5. There's Eric Bieniemy, who takes over the offense for the Washington Commanders after a great run with the Kansas City Chiefs, and this offense is squarely in his hands.
Yes, it is, and he's chomping at the bit to show what he's able to do. And a little sensitive when you start talking about whatever his role might have been there in Kansas City. Andy Reid, of course, gets all the credit, at least most of the credit, for what they do offensively, and rightfully so. But Eric Bieniemy had a hand in that, in the game planning, and then there were times that during games he would take over and call some of the plays himself.
3rd down and 4. Robinson on a little screen, and we'll see where they put it. Looks to be enough, and it is for a first down for Washington. A little more on Eric Bieniemy. There's been plenty in the last couple of weeks with Eric Bieniemy and comments made by Ron Rivera, but the Chiefs offensive coordinator since 2018 up through last year, and a championship with Kansas City. You see the points per game. Few guys have a lot to do with that. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill when he was there, right on down the line. But he knows what he's doing. Pass is caught on first down as the tight end Cole Turner, who was kind of a favorite target for Sam Howell week 1 of the preseason, gets 8.
Well, he's got a few targets, and Sam Howell, standing strong in the pocket and delivering it. And when you watch this offense, going back to last preseason game, what really jumped out to me, Joe, there's a lot of answers for these quarterbacks and where they're going to go. So the key for Sam Howell is really like it is for most quarterbacks, that you have to make good decisions and then you've got to be accurate with the football. And if he does that, there's going to be opportunities to hit for him to get the ball into some playmakers' hands.
Blitz coming. Commanders pick it up, and Howell buying time. Time runs out. Down he goes back inside the 30. Travis Jones there to clean up. Rashad Nichols was the first guy there with pressure and a 13-yard loss. Really backs up this first possession for the Commanders offense.
Well, it's a four-man rush is what they bring. So the offensive line really does a pretty decent job of sorting through it, giving him some time, and he had guys where he could have just gotten the ball. His eyes got away from him, and that you can't do. In that situation, it would have been too easy to get out of the pocket, throw it away, and not take the big loss.
Mike McDonald, second-year defensive coordinator. Quick shot at him. Pass is caught for a first down. Cole Turner again. 17 yards on the play immediately following the sack. And Sam Howell keeps this drive alive.
That's some of the stuff you see from Travis Kelce there in Kansas City. But what a great job by Howell. He starts to his left. You see him get through the progression like I was talking about a moment ago. And it times up perfectly. It's not there on his front side. He comes back, and he's able to get the ball to Cole Turner, who runs a good route and comes back to the football.
Here's Gibson. Antonio Gibson to midfield. I like what head coach Ron Rivera said about Sam Howell, and it's so true. You have to forget where he was drafted. It doesn't matter any more than a guy who goes number 10 overall and flames out in the NFL and doesn't become what everybody thought he would be. I mean, it's hard to forget that. Well, you got to kind of forget that this guy's a fifth-round pick. You either can play or you can't, and they think he can play.
They do. You got to earn that right. First-rounders, they get more opportunities. There was a pretty good sixth-rounder that recently retired.
Yeah.
So, but it takes a little bit of time before you really allow people to forget you were a fifth-rounder.
Here's McLaurin over the middle for another first down. 14 yards to the all-world receiver, Terry McLaurin.
Well, this is the Kansas City Chiefs offense. How many times do we see this with Tyreek Hill? He starts like he's going to run a crosser, and then he goes vertical, and then sits it down in the zone. And he's the perfect guy to be doing a lot of this type stuff. I expect Terry McLaurin, who's already a fantastic player, to have a huge season this year if Sam Howell can do some of the things that they hope he can do, because this offense is tailor-made for him.
Late handoff to Robinson, picks his way through the defense and gets about 10. Maybe just a little short, and he is by about half a yard of a first down. But this, with the exception of the sack, has been a really impressive start for the Commanders.
Well, we've seen Cole Turner, who has done a lot already in this game in the passing game, and then he helped clear the way for Robinson there in that running game. You know, he leads the way and does a really nice job. Of course, Logan Thomas, he's dealing with a calf injury and he's missed some time in recent years, but Cole Turner has really impressed some people.
Second down and 1, so they're going to put it up. Instead, Howell carries for the first down. Gain of 6. Terry McLaurin told us regarding Howell, I said, does he have the feel? Does he have the look of the guy? And he said he's doing it by his actions. He's not the guy that's going to grab a face mask in the huddle. He's not a guy that's going to be rah-rah. That'll come over time when he gets a little more comfortable with the role. But what he's doing physically has impressed his teammates and shown them that he can handle this.
And that element that he just showed, his ability to escape the pocket and create.
Here's a shot downfield, and there's McLaurin again. First and goal, gain of 13.
Terry McLaurin is an absolute technician in his ability to get up the field. You can see him right here as he gets vertical in the pocket that Sam Howell has. And he's able to step up. Here comes McLaurin right back at him at the top of the route. Times up very well. This guy can do it all, really. He's one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. He can win in short spaces, he can run the intermediate routes, and he can beat you deep.
Howell started 5 for 5. He hands off here to Robinson. And he gets stood up at about the 6. Gain of 4 as Travis Jones in the middle of that mess was there for Baltimore.
You know, we haven't talked about this offensive line, and that's a group that really got overhauled this offseason. Really, the only guy coming back at his position is left tackle Charles Leno. They brought in a couple guys. Andrew Wiley from Kansas City, he's now at right tackle. Nick Gates at center. But that's going to be the real key to this offense. Can they be better than they were a year ago? A lot of injuries. They had gotten old in some positions.
Second down and goal, pressure on Howell. And this time he's able to just throw it away. Del'Shawn Phillips was coming with the pressure and forced Howell out of the pocket. Brings up third down and goal.
Yeah, he took a sack last week, and they brought a blitz, and he tried to make something happen. That time, the Ravens, they brought one more than they were able to pick up. He recognized it, couldn't get the ball to a receiver, and threw it away.
It's his first incompletion of this opening possession, and this is the 14th play of this drive. Howell up the gut. Stays upright and takes it down inside the 3 to bring up fourth down. And with that, the field goal unit comes on for the Commanders. A gain of 3 as the drive stalls after a first and goal.
Yeah, they tightened up, and Baltimore did defensively. Good coverage, just nowhere for Howell to go with the football. And that, there's a lot of things on this offensive side of the ball that can show improvement, but coming away with touchdowns in the red zone was an area a year ago where they really struggled.
Ravens were 3rd, by the way, in red zone defense last year, and some of the backups trying to carry that tradition forward. Here is a chip shot that is good at 21 yards, knocked through by Joey Sly. Good start on each side. Ravens get 7, Commanders get 3. First quarter on a Monday night.
Aaron Rodgers is being traded to the New York Jets.
This is the best thing that has happened to the Jets since they drafted Joe Namath.
That Super Bowl III trophy is looking a little lonely.
Buffalo is going to be on a mission.
Touchdown, Buffalo, Stephon Diggs.
54th season of Monday Night Football kicks off September 11th. Jets hosting the Bills at 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN. ESPN Deportes, ESPN Plus. That guy will be watching because the Bills are playing. Peyton and Eli are back for their 3rd season on ESPN2. If you don't want to listen to us, how dare you? Don't miss it all as we wrap up NFL Kickoff Weekend presented by YouTube TV. Monday, September 11th. I know I speak on behalf of everybody when I say we can't wait. And neither can Jets fans to see number 8 take over when it counts. He's a 4-time NFL MVP. Jets haven't had one at quarterback. 4-time All-Pro. Jets had one. His name was Namath. Jets have one 4,000-plus yard passer. His name was Namath. 10 times done by Aaron Rodgers. And the other one of 30-plus touchdowns in a season, not Namath. Fitzy.
All right.
Mr. Amazon Football, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Here is second possession, and a handoff is to Melvin Gordon over the right side, and he gets stood up after a gain of 4. He came into the league with the Chargers, last 3 years with the Denver Broncos. He's had some fumbling problems.
Yeah.
He believes they're tied to a bad shoulder, which he's had surgically repaired. And John Harbaugh said all camp he's been holding the ball so high and so tight.
And they like him. They like him a lot. And when he was signed, I mean, with all the injuries they've had at running back over the last several years, he really was kind of brought in. It appeared to be more of an insurance policy, but he's done a lot of good things.
Pass is caught near first down yardage out on the edge by Tariq Black. And Black is going to be just a little bit short of the first down, so third down coming up.
You see the tempo right now, and they get right up on the line of scrimmage, and away they go, and that's going to be one of the elements that we see throughout this year.
Toss to Gordon, and a nice play made coming up out of the secondary, and the rookie, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. saying, who says I can't tackle? At 6 feet, 173 pounds, came up and brought down Melvin Gordon.
Maybe 173 pounds. What he does is pretty good in his ability to get up the field and make the play. And for anyone who doesn't think that this young man can tackle, they're just looking at his size, like you said, Joe, because they really have not watched him. Because when you watch him, the preseason game last week and the things that he's been able to do, boy, he jumps in there and he gets after it. And he's been fun to watch. And in addition to that, what he's able to do, and more importantly, as a cover man, he is a ball hawk, and they're hoping that he's going to be an electric player for them this year.
Dax Milne lets it go over his head and into the end zone. What a play by the rookie Forbes. Made that stop on 3rd and less than 1. And brought down a back, 6'1", 215 pounds. Out to the 20, it will come. Commanders' second possession, down by 4.
Here's Emmanuel Forbes, number 13. This is 3rd and less than 1. And so you got to make a play if you're going to be able to stop the Ravens here. He's got 380 pounds coming after him right there, and he's able to avoid that and come up and make a big play. That is really, like I said, it's really stood out. Just you wouldn't expect a guy with his frame to be as physical as he is. But, boy, he sure has been watching him, and it was a great play for him on that 3rd down.
6 career interceptions returned for touchdowns, an FBS record. I mean, he is a game-changing talent. Sure, some teams were turned off by his size, not the Commanders, and Ron Rivera just raving. Jack Del Rio raving about how this kid has come in.
Yeah, this defense did a lot of good things last year, but what they weren't able to do is take the ball away. And Emmanuel Forbes, one of the reasons why they brought him in, yes, to improve their coverage, but also to create some of those takeaways and big plays that he had in college.
Team had only 9 interceptions last year and 18 takeaways. 26th in the NFL. Here's a pass caught, 1st down. As Howell is able to complete for 12 to Curtis Samuel, who can really do anything from any spot in the offense and will be a big weapon for young Sam Howell here at the start.
Yeah, I've always liked Curtis Samuel going back to when he came into the league for Carolina. I think the real key for him is just remaining healthy. He's had a hard time staying on the field, but he's pretty dynamic when he has the ball.
Here's Gibson left side, and with that, we will be through 1 quarter of this preseason game in Landover, Maryland. A gain of 5 for Gibson. Washington's ball when we come back. It may be the preseason, but there's plenty on the line for both sides. A lot of emotion. Ravens lead by 4. Telling you, Troy, they play 4 quarters in the preseason, and we've got 1 in the books, and it's a 7-3 game.
You don't think we can change that, do you?
I do not think no. But let's look at this kid. He's been good.
Right after the sack, that was his bad play. Comes right back on 3rd and 15. Stands tall in the pocket, delivers a strike out there to Cole Turner. And then another shot as well. I like the spacing that we're seeing from these wide receivers. And then what he did in college and what we've seen of him already that has really stood out, even going back to that start last year against Dallas, was his ability to run and create some plays. But I like what he's done. He's gotten the ball out. He's gotten through his progressions and done a lot of good things already in this 1st quarter to complement what he was able to do last week.
Just to put a word to it, he looks comfortable.
Yeah, and you know, in visiting with Mac Brown, he's not a guy who lacks confidence. And you better have some thick skin and you better have some confidence if you're going to have success at any position, but especially quarterback in the National Football League.
2nd down and 5. Howell hangs in, and this one's broken up. And a flag. Defensive play was made by Malik Henderson, and that's the first flag of the game, and that means Ron Torbert will talk.
Pass interference. Defense number 48. Spot foul. Automatic 1st down.
They meant to say 40, Harrison. That's who it was. They said 48, but it was 40, and this on Jahan Dotson gets a first down for the Commanders.
Yeah, good call. Goes right through the back. So Jahan Dotson, you see right contact being made. Ball hasn't arrived.
That prompts me to let the world know, watching on ESPN, that John Perry is here with us, right down to the right of us, and he gives thumbs up. Those are such reassuring little gestures that he does during the course of games. Flag, likely a hold. We'll let John weigh in on that as Gibson gets the reception, goes forward. But this feels, John, like it's coming back.
Coming back. Call from the umpire. Little conversation. We may have 2 flags.
There are 2 on the field. There was one on the, definitely on the offensive line or on the protection for Sam Howell. Then a flag went flying shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I think that second one's going to be an ineligible downfield. That play took a little long to develop.
There were 2 fouls during the play, both by the defense, both by the offense. Ineligible player downfield, offense number 63. That penalty is declined. Holding, offense number 77. That 10-yard penalty is accepted. Repeat, first down.
John, did you enjoy flipping that microphone on and talking to the world in a full stadium?
You know what? You had a great first quarter, though, right? Clean, disciplined, no issues. And now we get 11 seconds into the second quarter, and we got 3 flags.
Answer the question.
I was going to say, you didn't answer the question.
Did you like doing that?
No, you want to keep the games moving. The greatest game for an official is one that does not have a lot of flags, believe it or not.
We'll keep that in mind as we move through the remainder of this game.
First down and 20.
You might have a little surprise for John Perry later on.
Yeah, I think we do. Here's Gibson. And well played by this Ravens defense. So the Ravens, I hope we get there. You do these preseason games and you feel like you're always chasing things. But the issue with the Ravens is in the secondary. It's another year for, in this case, Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator, for John Harbaugh. It's been one corner after another. They lost Marlon Humphrey, who's one of their best players, period. And he's out for about a month, maybe more. So they have some holes in that secondary.
Boy, it's a concern. You know, in talking with John Harbaugh, he's not as concerned as I thought he might have been.
Howell, Robinson, and a gain of just 3. Well played out there on the edge by Ardarius Washington, who's one of the guys that's going to have to step up for the Ravens here early.
Yeah, they just have had so many injuries, and of course the big one being to Marlon Humphrey, but he's going to miss some time. John Harbaugh doesn't seem to think he's going to miss an inordinate amount of time, but you know, we'll find out when you get back on the field and how you're able to hold up. But you know, we have seen this team over the years. They've been able to have success even when they've had some key injuries, a lot of those being on the offensive side of the ball.
Looks like a free play. It is. Howell over the middle behind his tight end, Turner. But it sure looked like the defense came across early.
Offside. Defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Travis Jones got 6'4", 338 pounds moving and couldn't stop.
Well, that's a nice job by Sam Howell, something that you won't see in the stat sheet, that 3rd and long and you're able to use the hard count and get the defense to jump, pick up some extra yards, and then get a free shot at it. And he had a chance at Cole Turner, who continues to impress with his route running.
You mentioned Logan Thomas. He is their top guy, but he's been out now for a couple of weeks, really since the 4th of August with a calf strain. But he can be a dynamic player when he's healthy, and somebody that you have to believe Sam Howell will look for a lot. Down at the bottom, that's McLaurin. Howell airs it out, downfield for Brown, and it's broken up. Play made by Kevon Seymour. And a nice play by Seymour, former 6th-round pick by the Bills. In perfect position on De'Ami Brown.
No, a really good job for sure by Seymour. De'Ami Brown and Sam Howell, they go back to college. They have quite a connection, both having played together there at UNC. He decides he's going to take the deep shot. Instead, he had a chance, if he wanted, to take the sure thing with McLaurin to the boundary. He could have gotten him, but instead he wants to take the deep shot there to De'Ami Brown, and just awfully good coverage with Kevon Seymour.
The punt on the way with Crochet, and it's going to check up inside the 5 and tap down at the 1. That's off the left foot of Michael Pilardi, who was just signed this week to give Tress Way a break, and he just let go a perfect 53-yard punt. Camp leg, maybe a little bit more. He's been in the league, was with the Patriots a year ago, and you can't do it any better than Pilardi. Well, Michael Pilardi, John Perry, hit a beautiful punt. Walk us through the end of this play and why this wasn't a touchback.
Yeah, great play and great officiating. He touches the goal line there, so what he needs to do is reestablish. And he does that by the knee touching the ground prior to recovery. 1 knee equals 2 feet. Great job by both the players and the officials.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah. It's the name of the late, great John Madden's book.
That's right.
That was James Smith-Williams who made that play to keep it out of the end zone. And Michael Pilardi, who punted for a long time with the Panthers and still lives in Charlotte, trying to put something on tape for a team and needs a punter.
Well, somebody's going to need one.
From the 1. Gordon in the backfield, and he gets it. Gets a little breathing room out across the 5 to the 7.
I did think it was interesting. We talked about Melvin Gordon earlier, and you know what happened there in Denver, getting released after he had another fumble, went to Kansas City, didn't get on the field. But this is a guy who John Harbaugh really wants to see in this game tonight. And you look at their group, J.K. Dobbins is back. He's not going to be playing. But with Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and then, of course, Dobbins, where do they keep 4? Does Melvin Gordon have an opportunity? It sure sounds like he might.
Here he is. He gets 1. Meanwhile, they have Patrick Ricard, the former defensive lineman who's a fullback. And the question is, how much is a fullback going to be used with Todd Monken coordinating this offense?
You want me to answer that?
Yes.
Not much. You know, he played 65% of the snaps last year offensively, and he's been a big part of this offense. We love him and all the things that he's able to do. And I just feel like if they're not going to use a fullback because of what they now have at wide receiver, I just think he's too good of a football player to not find some role for him because he's so athletic for his size.
3rd down and 3. Ravens backed up after the good punt, and backpedaling, pass is caught, and guess who? You gotta find a role for Patrick Ricard, who gets 5 and a 1st down, as Josh Johnson found him as he was backpedaling toward his own end zone.
He's worked a little bit this camp in the offensive line, and it doesn't sound like that's going to be a position, but this one sure should be. You know, there he was at the wing playing a tight end, and he can sure help with protection. He can block, and we know he can run and catch. He's done a lot of that.
6'3", 305. That's him in motion. Josh Johnson keeps with 2 blockers out in front of him, and on 1st down, a nice gain. Let's talk about this. That you see a lot with Lamar Jackson. That's something you expect Lamar Jackson to run. That's not going to just completely go away from this offense as we see Josh Johnson execute.
Well, if it did, there'd be 31 other teams who are thanking Todd Monken. And as much as they want to open things up, the play that's going to scare defenses like it has with Lamar Jackson, a quarterback, is when he tucks it and runs. And those things are going to happen organically. They'll still have some design things in the game plan as well.
Here is Keaton Mitchell, another guy who's on the list of running backs they really like. He's a smaller body, 5'8", 191, free agent from East Carolina, but he can return kicks and he can really run.
And the other part of that, going back to Todd Monken, is there's this idea that he's going to abandon the run. In the 3 years that he was at Georgia, I mean, they had a power running game. They ran the football, and they did a lot of things off of that and getting the ball down the field. Now, they're going to be more 3 wide receivers. It's not the 2-back, 2-tight-end offense that we've seen all these years under Greg Roman. But I think that's a natural progression. And John Harbaugh talked about that as far as it was good what they were doing, but it's time to evolve and do some more things.
Johnson gets out. And Josh is able to cross the 30. A nice gain on first down. I also personally don't think the backup quarterback spot is entirely settled for the Baltimore Ravens because of the way Todd Monken talked about Josh Johnson and his ability to know this offense, move guys around the line of scrimmage, change protections. He really likes number 17.
Yeah, he does. And he's a smart guy. You have to be when you've played for as many teams as he has, to be able to get in the huddle and call plays. And I think that's impressed Todd Monken, his ability to absorb this offense.
Down the middle, pass is caught inside the 40. 28 yards to Charlie Kohler. And a good throw by Johnson and a big pickup, and Lamar Jackson loving what he's seeing from one of his backups.
Well, it's a really great read by Josh Johnson, and he's got split safeties. You can see these guys here, they go verticals, and then he takes the inside guy. He reads it out perfectly, and you know that Todd Monken likes that as well. So those are the throws. He had an opportunity last week. He airmailed a guy who was pretty open, and this time he delivers.
Pass is caught. Another completion from Johnson, and this time it's to Dante Demas Jr. Gain of 12 and another first down.
Yeah, we've talked about the situation at running back. There's a battle going on at wide receiver too. I mean, and then there's not many spots when you look at it and the guys that they've brought in, but there's some people that are challenging to see if maybe they can impress and earn one of those 53 spots.
Baltimore with 9 first downs in this first half, moving the chains play after play. Handoff is to Gordon, and with those 3 receivers spread out to the right, they hand it to Gordon up the gut, and he gets 7. And if you have fumbling issues, as our friend Tom Coughlin would say, high and tight.
High and tight, baby. That's what you do, and it was pretty funny when we were talking to John Harbaugh about it. He kind of over-exaggerated how he's been carrying that thing. I mean, it was up around his chin the way that Harbaugh was demonstrating it to us.
Second down and 3. Johnson backpedaling, just floats it. Pass is juggled and intercepted. Back the other way for the Commanders. In the arms of Jartavius Martin. And Martin's got room to run. Does anybody want to catch him? Can anybody catch him? And he's out of bounds inside Ravens territory. We'll make sure that Martin's foot was in bounds when he made the interception off the deflection, as Josh Johnson just put the ball up for grabs. And then a return of 57 yards.
Yeah, he put it up for grabs only because he was unable to step into the throw. He has pressure in his face and just not able to get the ball out like he'd like to.
Here's the interception. Are his feet in?
Oh,
yes. Wow, what a play. Off the hands of James Prochet.
Prochet wins. He wins right off the line of scrimmage. I mean, he couldn't have done more to give his quarterback an easy touchdown throw, but because of the inside pressure, Johnson just not able to step into it.
Well, they had to review it because it's a turnover play. And here's Prochet winning right off the line.
Oh my gosh. Prochet was just waiting for the ball to come down.
And then the 57-yard return by Martin sets up the Commanders. Howell scanning and finally comes underneath to Brian Robinson, who gets 8. Boy, Howell is always looking for the big throw. Here's that play one more time.
Yeah, and Quan Martin's beat, right? And if the ball gets there, he's able to get the touchdown. But here is the pressure coming that kept Josh Johnson from being able to get the ball out and into the throw as much as what he would have liked. Right there, right in his face. But Quan Martin, going back to Emmanuel Forbes and the things he was able to do in college and creating takeaways, I know Martin was beat, but yet he made up for it, and he gets the interception, and he did a lot of that in college also.
He sure did. Robinson with a first down. Talking about a second-round pick out of Illinois, the 47th pick. So they go Forbes with their first-round pick, then Quan Martin. We've seen Forbes make a play in this game, and now Martin makes a play in this game. And Sam Howell's doing more of what we've seen throughout the first quarter as he completes it for 3 here in the second quarter and gets a first down for Washington. By the way, that was Benning Poto Ahi who had the pressure up the gut that forced that high throw from Johnson. Pass is caught out on the edge by Jahan Dotson.
That's why I didn't give the name on who applied the pressure.
We've been doing this for 22 years. And I know that if you just give somebody's weight or their number, you really don't want to say their name because it's not easy.
That's when hey, jump in and tag this.
Benning Potoa'i, who is a 4th-year pro from Washington.
He keeps rushing like that. There's some pretty good guys inside that are ahead of him on that depth chart, but he keeps doing that. They'll find a spot for him.
Second down and 4. Here's one for Gibson. Breaks one tackle, but cannot get away from Christian Welch. And a loss of 2 on the play. And Welch, who's in at linebacker, real good special teams player for the Ravens, forces a 3rd and 6. Mike McDonald, who's got an interesting resume, was in the organization, left to coach the defense at Michigan with a guy named Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, and then John took him back and said, run my defense, and he is a rising, up-and-coming, really good young coach.
Yeah, a little different style than what we had seen those years under Wink Martindale, but the results were the same.
Howell, good protection. Gibson, long way to go for the first down. He won't get it. Forced out by Josh Ross. And it just depends on what Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, in the preseason wants to see. And the answer is he wants to see his young quarterback try to convert a 4th down.
Yeah, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the nickname if you don't go for it in preseason on 4th down here.
They'll just take it right away. They do want to make sure that Joey Sly is their guy after missing 5 field goals a year ago, but 4th down and 3. Good protection. Caught Dotson down to the 10. 16 yards from Sam Howell to Jahan Dotson.
Well, sometimes you got a horseshoe because you've got Sam Howell and Travis Jones. He gets his hand on the ball. And yet Jahan Dotson just stays with it. It was really a great job by Howell and this offensive line, giving him the time to just sit there in the pocket and allow him to free up.
Robinson almost broke loose. Malik Ham made that stop. And by the way, you know, horseshoe or not, ball tipped or not, Sam Howell has only thrown 2 incompletions in this half.
Well, he's been poised. I mean, that's what everyone has talked about, and what a job this offensive line has done overall. That's as much a question mark coming into this season as what the quarterback is. And if the offensive line hadn't have done what they did on that play, then he's not able to hang in there and make the throw.
We will get to the 2-minute warning here in Landover with the Commanders facing a 2nd and 8, and Eric Bieniemy trying to find the right play to help the young quarterback, and the Washington Commanders take the lead. Good game here in Maryland.
Let's say you're an eagle nesting in the land of giants. Now that YouTube TV is the home of NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch up to 4 live games at once, which should make everyone happy. See diving catches from the Panthers, interceptions from the Titans, sacks from the Chargers, and great.
He's a managing general partner of an NFL team between two thorns. His name is Josh Harris.
I'm surrounded.
Hey, we've been kept. This drive has taken so long that you've been waiting in the wings to come on. Thank you for coming on.
Oh,
congratulations.
I came on to get us a touchdown.
Yeah,
here.
Well, it's I think it's 2nd and 8 when we go back to work here. How exciting is this for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, everyone's coming out. I've been told that this is energized compared to a regular season game. Washington's out in force, and look, we gotta get. You know, it's preseason, but we'd still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no stranger. You're no stranger to professional sports teams. Managing general partner of the Devils, of the Sixers, now the Commanders. I would imagine it's fair to say everything is being evaluated here in the early days of your tenure?
Yeah, look, well, I'm watching, I'm learning. I mean, obviously, Ron and the crew have done a great job of getting this team right there, right by the playoffs. But it's a long season, but we're optimistic. And watching Sam out there.
Here you go.
Sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Incomplete. He had a shot. De'Ami Brown, even though Josh was excited, that's going to bring up 3rd down and 8.
Yeah. Well, we got a few more chances, but I have a lot of faith in Sam and the team, so we'll see.
This is the organization and the team that you grew up rooting for in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and
yes, sir.
You know, for you to be at the controls has got to be in some ways a dream and a lifelong ambition that's fulfilled.
Look, it's an amazing opportunity. Obviously, who knew as a middle-class kid from Chevy Chase I'd end up here. Let's go.
There you go. That's Gibson.
And he's
touchdown.
Made. There we go. I told you guys. Let's not give up faith.
And now flags fly as a fight breaks out in the end zone, but the touchdown came first and will stand.
It's on the board.
It's on the board.
First touchdown in FedEx Field with you guys. Thank you.
And Sam Cosme is doing the gritty, and Gibson's got a touchdown, and then the flags, and then we'll have to sort this all out.
Well,
really well-designed play. Antonio Gibson here, he's going to run the post, and then you've got Josh Ross, who he's going to go over the top because of the action here. As Antonio Gibson comes out of the backfield, you see he's thinking he's going to go to the flat. He comes underneath it, and then it's just who can be more physical at the goal line and score.
And the answer was Gibson. While they talk, Troy and I were in a car coming out here today, and we drove by RFK Stadium, and I know, Troy, that brings back great memories for you.
Memories. It brings back memories. I don't know how great many of them are. I know you had a lot of great memories there, but I just can't help but think what might happen. A lot of discussion about possible stadium down there at the old RFK.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense number 63. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 39. Those fouls will offset. We will play the try.
Yeah,
is that a possibility?
Look, I mean, I grew up walking down East Capitol Street, cheering against you, I must say. Sorry about that. I'm sure it was an unhospitable place for you to come, right?
Sure
it was very hospitable for our fans. It was loud, it was noisy. And so, yeah, like that kind of impact, that kind of excitement is what they're. Oh, my goodness.
There it is. Is that a Kilmer shirt?
That is a Kilmer shirt. So embarrassing, but
that's great.
I'm looking good as a 9-year-old, but.
What'd your mom say? I'm Mama Commander?
My mom, you know, she raised her hand and stood up and inherited the team. So she did. But look, we got to get back to an exciting place to play, and we're on our way here in FedEx Field, and who knows?
Well, we're going to take a quick break. It's a 3-point lead for Josh Harris's Washington Commanders. We're bringing luck to the man to my right, to Troy's left. Back after this.
Let's go.
who seek a trade, and the best of preseason week 2. We know that in preseason week 3, Aaron Rodgers, who we will see week 1 at home, his new home against the Bills, will play. I'm sure not for very long against the Giants, but they're just trying to garner up a little more viewership for Hard Knocks. And out to the 25 it will come. We're visiting with Josh Harris, who led the group to purchase the Commanders for $6.05 billion. I'm surprised $6 billion wouldn't get it done. I had to throw that extra.
Long story, but can you not say that number?
What is that like?
It was a long negotiation, but look, it had to happen, and you know, here we are, right?
Yeah.
So the last 0.05, you have to rub it in.
Yeah, rubbing it in. I'm now rubbing it in. The Ravens and Josh Johnson. He's been impressive. But coming off that interception last time he was out there, sets up, throws, flag down, pass is caught by the tight end Kohler, and a flag flew early in the route. 33-yard completion if it stands, and we'll find out from Ron Torbert if it does.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense, number 34. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
So the 33-yard completion will stand. The call against Holmes, and Christian was guilty of hands to the face, and we'll continue and wrap up. We were supposed to talk to Josh when his team was going down the field. There was no break.
There was no break.
And I'm keeping this man of high importance just waiting in the wings, but here he is. First down. From the 42, Johnson throws, end zone shot or close to it, and a flag on the coverage. Tylan Wallace was covered by Rashad Wildgoose. They got tangled up, and Wallace was spinning, and down he went.
Pass interference. Defense, number 37. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
So that's Wildgoose, who is guilty of the pass interference, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
Well, it's just an absolute foot race. You got Tylan Wallace. He's just running a go route. But Rashad Wildgoose, he sits on and then he gets beat, and that's what happens. You get out of position, and he ends up playing through the receiver before the ball arrives.
So now 1st and goal. Ball at the 7. Here's a back shoulder throw, and the pass is caught by Wallace for the touchdown. That was a well-timed connection between Josh Johnson and Tylan Wallace.
It sure was, and we saw this last week with Tyler Huntley and Tylan Wallace. This back shoulder throw down here in the red zone. The timing is perfect. There's really not a lot there that the defensive back can do. If you play that, if you're anticipating the back shoulder fade, then you get beat over the top. So they've been working on that in practice, and it's clear it's a go-to route for Tylan Wallace.
Ball comes out at the end. Touchdown is the call, and it has been confirmed. Well, Josh Harris, you show up and we see 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I do, but we wanted 2 touchdowns.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. You don't want offsetting ones. You want ones for us.
Exactly. Well, hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
I'll see you guys around, all right?
Congratulations.
We are very excited. Yeah.
Good fun, right?
Josh Harris, who is the managing general partner of the Washington Commanders. We are nearing halftime. 1:34 left. Ravens on top by 4. Back after this.
Our promise to you is straightforward. We will work tirelessly to make you proud once again of this franchise, like my family was when I grew up here.
The first thing I said was, do you want to win? And he said, yes. I said, I'm in. Because I don't invest in sports teams for ego. I invest to win.
It was a tumultuous and many times investigated 20-plus-year run with Daniel Snyder as the team owner. It's been a rough go, and these fans sense that things have changed and changed for the better with this new group. The managing general partner Josh Harris, he talked about the process with the 76ers. Here's Kaz Allen on a return for the Commanders, and he is out around the 20. They had some rough years there at the start, but they've made the playoffs 6 straight years. They're a force in the NBA. He's got a good young core under contract with the New Jersey Devils. Everything here is under scrutiny by Josh Harris to see what he has. And you see what look at the difference between last year and this year. And to a man, everybody we talked to with the Commanders, they feel the buzz from the fan base, and it's going to go a long way in really pushing this team forward.
Absolutely. There's an optimism that comes with this organization going into this season, and I don't want to overstate it, Joe, but we've been in town for a couple days. You can feel it.
Here's a sack off the edge by Jeremiah Moon. And after a 15-second touchdown drive by the Ravens, the Commanders get to see Sam Howell operate in the 2-minute offense, and it starts with a loss of 6.
Yeah, it would have been a good opportunity and is a good opportunity, but they don't pick it up here. They don't bring more guys than they can block. It's just a breakdown, whether Howell should have redirected the offensive line or they should have picked it up. But a 4-man rush, nothing fancy, and a really easy sack.
That's Cornelius Lucas out at left tackle. Charles Leno, who will start the season at left tackle, not playing tonight. Troy talked about the changes on the offensive line. Leno, the only returner in the same spot. Sadiq Charles likely to play left guard. Nick Gates is now the center. Sam Cosme at right guard. And Andrew Wiley, fresh off winning a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, brought in as a free agent, and he'll take over at right tackle. They have a 3rd-round pick from Arkansas they like a lot. Ricky Stromberg, the rookie. And Ron Rivera said keep an eye on him. He can play guard too, and we'll keep an eye out for him. It's 2nd down and 17 after the sack. Howell trying to find somewhere to go. And a penalty flag flies in the secondary as Howell got about 7 or 8 yards on that scramble.
Yeah, he does a good job. There's not a lot for him down the field, and where normally lesser mobile quarterbacks having to throw that away, he's at least able to get something out of it.
Holding. Defense, number 17. The 5-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Carries an automatic 1st down.
It's Caillou Kelly who is guilty of the hold, and that wipes away the sack that started this possession with the automatic 1st down.
Yeah, that's the definition of a hold, right, Mr. Perry?
You got it. I really want to talk about McLaurin before we go off the air tonight. And you touched on how special he is and how Ohio State has just become this factory for really, really good wide receivers. Pass, there he is. McLaurin, 1st down across the 40. $13 yards to number 17.
Well, this is the things that for a receiver in a lot of positions that you just really can't coach. Well, they get a little movement up there. Ball doesn't get snapped. Everybody's moving but the center.
This will be a 10-second runoff with a running clock. Unless a timeout is taken by the Commanders, they have 3.
False start. Offense number 24. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down. Washington has elected to take its first charge timeout of the half to avoid the 10-second runoff. The clock is good at 54 seconds. We'll start on the snap.
And McLaurin.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, nor is that reaction. Hopefully he's okay. go back to that catch in the route, and just a really nice job by him. He's going to line up in the slot where we're going to see more of him this year. And initially he's covered up, and he just continues to play, finds a spot, and because of the blocking up front by that offensive line, Sam Howell had plenty of time to find him. I hope he's okay.
Watch out. Take another look at the end of the play and see maybe where something happened to Terry. Great protection, wide open. Dotson, flag is down in the secondary. And Dotson had no one around him. A 16-yard completion from Howell, and this indication is the call is against the Ravens defense.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Defense number 39. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Call against Corey Mayfield.
Well, Jahan Dotson, I think he's poised to really have an exceptional year. He's an outstanding route runner. You see it there. And like I said earlier in this game, a lot of the concepts that we're seeing are what we saw from Kansas City, and that's what you would expect. But so much of that is predicated then, can the quarterback hold the ball long enough to allow these later developing routes to happen? And the answer so far has been yes.
This one broken up. Dotson the target, and the play made by Ardarius Washington. Let's go back to the Terry McLaurin play. He made the catch. And then on the tackle, you see the right ankle get pinned a little, but who knows? He got up limping, was frustrated when he got to the sideline, and like Troy said, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, just an impressive guy. And you talk about these Ohio State receivers. Brian Hartline, the wide receivers coach at Ohio State, boy, he's been producing some amazing wide receivers in the NFL.
And he's just been named the offensive coordinator. This throw is one of the few errant throws as Dotson tried for the one-handed grab. But look at this list of young stars in the NFL. And that bottom line, all coached at Ohio State by Brian Hartline. I mean, he is making a difference at that level and then at the next.
And it's noticeable. You know me, I'm tough on wide receivers and how they run routes. And these young guys, when you watch them and you see what they're able to do and you look down and see where they went to college, invariably it was Ohio State. And he's got another good one this year. Who's going to be a top pick next year in Marvin Harrison Jr., who got to learn a thing or two from his dad.
Here's Dotson again, spins down inside the 35. And a timeout taken by Washington after a completion of 17 yards.
Well, we have to remember
this, second charge timeout.
As we talk about
Washington, this is a 30-second timeout. Please set the game clock to 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds, the clock will start on the snap.
Things will get tougher for this offensive line. I mean, the Ravens aren't playing their guys, and things are going to change a little bit, but you can only go up against the guys that are on the field, and I think there's some things that this offensive line can gain some confidence from, because overall they've had a breakdown here and there, but overall they've really done a good job of providing a nice pocket for Sam Howell, and he's hung in there and delivered some really good throws.
Ron Rivera's been bullish on this offensive line as McLaurin goes underneath to get looked at.
Well, the good sign is he's walking and he's not being carted off.
Dotson 4 catches, 55 yards. Maybe helping in the secondary for this Baltimore defense would be a more formidable pass rush. They love David Ojabo. Odafe Owe, 2 young guys, played together in high school. They've just added Jadeveon Clowney. Howell is hanging on to it for a long time, escapes to his right, and with the eyes downfield finds Dotson. Timeout, Washington. And a 20-yard completion to Jahan Dotson as Howell just keeps looking downfield.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty cool customer. I mean, here they come. They're bringing everybody, and they have extra protection in, so it's going to get picked up. But those are hard blocks, especially for the back, Brian Robinson. And Howell, he hangs in there. He's just an old gunslinger. He's going to wait as long as he can. And Fortunately, he's able to get out and then find his man.
Sam Howell completing passes at 78% in this first half.
Well, hopefully he doesn't come away from this game or this preseason like I did back in 1989. I thought it was a pretty easy league.
And how'd that season
well,
start?
not good. Yeah, not good. Went 0-11 as a starter, and
say that again. You kind of.
And that was the highlight. 0-11.
Oh, 0-11.
Yeah, it was winless. So he's done a good job though tonight. You know, we talked about him coming in and what he's been able to do, and continue to gain the respect and confidence of the locker room and these offensive players as well as the coaches, and he's continued to do that tonight.
Good protection, end zone, and De'Ami Brown, it's over his head.
De'Ami Brown, I mentioned earlier in this game the rapport that he and Sam Howell, going back to the fact that they played in college together, and I like De'Ami Brown, and that actually was a pretty good route on his part. If probably a throw Sam Howell would like to have had back, but it's nice when you have those relationships with guys going back to college, and then they come along with you and just pick up where you left off.
17 seconds left, no timeouts for the Commanders. Good protection again. Touchdown, De'Ami Brown. Eric Bieniemy has to love what he's seeing from his 22-year-old quarterback, Sam Howell.
No doubt, and the chemistry between those two was evident on that play. De'Ami Brown has an ability to make the tough catch. That was what he did in college, and Sam Howell knows that, and it was good coverage. But he trusted that he'll win on the route, and he does.
They hooked up for 20 touchdown connections in college at North Carolina, and they've got one here tonight. It is preseason, but you can't convince Sam Howell or De'Ami Brown about that. These plays matter.
Yeah, you're going to see when Howell goes to turn it loose. Look at the coverage. You'd think it's going to go over the top. Instead, he throws it underneath and allows De'Ami Brown to try to come back to the football and make a play. That ball, typically, you would expect it to be thrown to the pylon. But he's able to count on De'Ami Brown to win and recognize where he's putting the ball, and then he'll come back and make a play, and that's exactly what he did.
De'Ami, who led the NCAA in contested catches his last year at Carolina. It's a big reason why they went and drafted him in the 3rd round 2 seasons ago. And so he and Sam Howell did it in Carolina blue, and now they're doing it for the Commanders here tonight.
Yeah, he's had limited opportunities up to this point, but he can run. He's got good size, and like you said, you know, the guys that can make those contested catches, you know, essentially are never covered. And just put the ball in his area and see if he can make a play, and that's a nice feeling for a quarterback.
I know that we are in August, right? We're in August 21st. But this has been fun. I mean, these two teams have gone up and down the field, and whether it's been Josh Johnson or that kid, Sam Howell, plays made all over the place. This has been a heck of a half of football.
It has been fun, and the crowd, you know, to go back to that point, is energized. And you felt it driving into the stadium, and you feel it here tonight. You know, they know it's a preseason game too, but I think there's an optimism that, you know, hey, maybe this can be a team that can do something that is not expected.
NFC East has not had a repeat division winner in 18 years. Washington says, hey, don't forget about us. They have a 3-point lead at the half. Stay tuned. All State halftime coming up next. Tonight's first half highlights presented by Target, and there were plenty of them in a really exciting first half. Exciting rookie is Zay Flowers, as he took it in from over 20 yards away, and that was the first touchdown of the night. How about the interception by Quan Martin, 2nd-round pick for the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell knew what to do with it. Antonio Gibson to the goal line, and he fought his way in. And at the end of a 15-second drive, a touchdown to Tylan Wallace from Josh Johnson, and then the answer from Sam Howell to his college teammate De'Ami Brown. Fun to watch, fun first half. Target, totally easy, totally Target, and it is totally like a three-point game as we get set to start the second half. Start of the third quarter on a warm, but we'll take it, night in Landover, Maryland. We're going to start putting the great and Emmy Award-winning Lisa Salters to work in this second half, because you know what happens in the second half of preseason games.
Yes.
Turns into an interview. It's like McNeil Lehrer or Frost Nixon. And Kaz Allen says no thank you. He takes a knee. Welcome inside the booth. I'm Joe Buck. That's Troy Aikman, and that was a fun first half. And we can go either way, but we can talk about Sam Howell because his checkdowns have been great. His eyes have been down the field. There's really not much that they saw in that first half that they're not going to like.
I wouldn't think. I mean, there's going to be those coaching moments. There always is. But I was impressed with him. He continued to do the things that he has shown going back to when he was in college, and then when he's gotten his opportunity last year, and then last week's preseason game. But I just thought there were a lot of really good things to be excited about offensively for Washington Commanders, and I thought Eric Bieniemy as well called a really nice first half.
Here is a really good pro in Jacoby Brissett taking over at quarterback. He can't connect with Chris Rodriguez, a rookie they like, a running back. I mean, the quarterback comparison, Josh Johnson was great. He's been around the block. It's actually his third time on the Ravens roster, and you can see why Todd Monken went on and on about Josh in our meeting we had with Todd. He really likes number 17.
Yeah, and he had a great outing as well. So there's nothing for him to be ashamed of, and he helped his position. And that'll be an interesting one to see, how it shakes out when it's all said and done. Maybe they keep 3, I'm not sure, but there'll be some decisions that they'll have to make as an organization.
And it's worth bringing up with John Perry down the line. It's getting a lot of ink, this third quarterback, this emergency quarterback situation that Josh Johnson actually was kind of a part of, like a Josh Johnson rule because of the NFC Champ game when he went out with a concussion, and Brock Purdy had to come back with a torn up elbow in a championship game. That, well, go ahead, John. You have to be on the roster to be able to come into a game as an emergency player.
Yeah, that weekend, one of the 53. And the concept is to maintain the integrity of play with a bona fide quarterback. If both guys go down, we have a third bona fide quarterback and take over the offense until hopefully one of them returns that day.
So there it is. Teams may designate a third quarterback on game day. Again, this can't be somebody not on the 53-man roster. And he will not count as an active player. And he's only eligible to play due to injury or ejection, and the depth with which teams have to go into to document the injuries is pretty extensive. So you can't game the system, but it's a smart rule.
Right, it's a 4-page document. They want no gaming, but they do want the integrity of play.
Well, Keaton Mitchell wanted to return that punt from Pilardi, but does not. 51-yard punt. Nice night for Michael Pilardi, just added to the roster. 3-point game here in Landover. (17-14) game, and now the first possession for the Baltimore Ravens, and Anthony Brown, first-year player, not a rookie, from Oregon, taking over, and we'll send it down to Lisa Salters.
Hey, Joe. Well, we have an injury update for you on Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin. We saw him go limping into the locker room right before halftime. They're calling it a right toe injury. We don't know how serious it is because he's not back out on the field right now, as we know of, but he wasn't expected to play in the second half, so not sure just how serious the injury is. So, Joe.
All right, Lisa. Well, yeah, if we get anything else, because Commanders fans want to know, Sam Howell wants to know, Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy. If we find out anything, we will pass it on for sure, but heck of a player that unfortunately got dinged up. Hopefully not too serious. Delayed handoff here to Melvin Gordon. A nice run. And the aforementioned Anthony Brown takes over, signed as an undrafted free agent with the Ravens in 2020. Played 2 games in his rookie year, had a start. And so here he is, categorized as a first-year player, but he's been in the league for just a bit. Here's Gordon. Nice play out on the edge, and that's David Mayo.
Well, last week, speaking of Anthony Brown, he got in that preseason game, and with Ravens with a lead, he threw a pick 6. And they elected to go for 2, so the Ravens end up holding on to the win. But that was close to losing that long win streak that they have.
Yeah, we've buried that one.
Season.
And shame on me. The Ravens have won 24 straight preseason games. That's on the line here tonight. Nice strong throw, and stood up is the young tight end Travis Vokalek. David Mayo on the other side of the field, a gain of 5. That'll bring up 3rd down. Anthony, when you talk to Todd Monken, he describes Anthony as upper-level arm talent, smart, athletic. And then he said, you know, the funny thing is when you're trying to make a team, it's almost hard to check the ball down, but he should check the ball down more. But you want to show what you can do with the arm.
And every backup quarterback that's been in the NFL can tell you that.
He's in trouble, spins out. Brown out to his left. Can he get it with his legs? And the answer appears to be yes. First down for the Ravens. And Abdullah Anderson was out there to make the stop, but not before a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, he might have been able to get the ball out right away to Prochet or come back inside to Wallace. But, yeah, to go back to what you said, you get very few reps in practice, and just checking the ball down isn't going to attract any attention from your coaches or impress anybody. And so you really want to make the big play. And oftentimes when you start having that mentality, bad things happen.
Out to his right. Positive play as he turns it into a 4-yard gain. Keaton Mitchell was in at running back. And he will, it appears, stay in the huddle. And that's a guy who, as a free agent from East Carolina, could force his way onto this team because he's a little different look as a back for John Harbaugh's offense. 2nd and 6. Delayed handoff, here he is. And there he goes. First down plus. Keaton Mitchell with a big play on 2nd and 6. A run of 31 yards as 34 shows what he can do.
Yeah, he certainly does. And what he has that you can't coach is just pure speed. That's the attraction. And even here, not great blocking up front. You see that there's 2 defenders. 3 defenders right there willing to make a play, and yet because of his speed and burst, he's able to get to the edge and turn what really should not have been much into a significant gain. Yeah, he definitely has the eyes of this coaching staff.
Stays in. Brown fires. Pass is caught as Prochet grabs it for 7.
I think looking at this game, Joe, for Ravens fans, and I think that they know that this, for those that have been following this team, is, you know, we really haven't seen what we're going to see. And I'm excited about it, to see what that might look like. And Harbaugh was clear that he loved what they did with Greg Roman and power running game and playing great defense, but you got to be perfect when you play that style, and oftentimes it doesn't lead to a lot of points, and that's what hurt them last year.
Here's Gordon looking for a block, and the flag flies.
You know, the other part of that is they didn't get the big plays, and when you don't get big plays, it's hard to score a lot of points, and then you put more and more pressure on your defense, and they got some guys now that'll line up at wide receiver that can get some big plays.
Play. It's third down.
Well, as it stands right now, on this roster for the Ravens, 5 former first-round picks at wide receiver when you add Laquan Treadwell, who was one for the Minnesota Vikings when he came into the league. But you've got Odell Beckham, who's been great and has looked great. Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, who's worked his way back from injury. Zay Flowers. It's an impressive group. First down as Gordon picks it up.
And for those that are wondering about Odell Beckham and how he has looked, he has made a lot of plays in camp. But the biggest thing for him, and I think the most encouraging thing, is that he's been on the practice field. He hasn't missed many days, and that's a great sign. Coming off that knee injury, of course, missing all of last season, but he can still run, and I expect him to do a lot of good things. In addition, you know, and going back to this offseason, he and Lamar Jackson had been talking about maybe being able to hook up, and when they got Odell Beckham signed, it kind of felt like, you know, maybe a deal with Lamar was imminent.
Brown fires, pass caught, and a touchdown. 17 yards to Vokalek. And the rookie tight end fought his way in.
So here's Vokalek. He does a really good job of pushing up the field and then finding the hole as he bends over the middle of the field. Now Mason, the route that he runs underneath, it's just a really good combination with number 38 Mason. He draws the linebacker to him, and a great read opens it up for Vokalek then for the touchdown.
Extra point is good. So add the name Anthony Brown to the list. Good quarterback play tonight from all we have seen. And we'll see more of Jacoby Brissett when we come back. Vokalek fights his way in. Baltimore having fun now. Back on top.
Welcome back to FedEx Field. I'm with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Lamar, you didn't play tonight, but I know you're excited about this upcoming season. New offense, new offensive coordinator. What are you most looking forward to start this season?
What I'm most looking for to start this season is playing. You know, I didn't play towards the end of the season last year. You know, I went down with a knee injury. But just being around my guys, getting back out there on the field, and, you know, the new addition with Coach Monk and the new guys, I'm just ready to get in this explosive offense.
You talked, everything is new. So, you know, what's been the most challenging part about doing something new, playing a new style of ball?
Whenever you bring in a new system, a new coach and stuff like that, I wouldn't say the hardest thing is to learn is the playbook, but, you know, I'm a quarterback, so just the terminology, just the new terms and with play calling and stuff like that, and that's just been the only thing. And
you've got some exciting new weapons. Tell me, how has Odell looked to you as he rehabs his way back on the field now for the first time in a long time?
Odell look like the Odell we know. You know, the original Odell from Giants, you know, the Super Bowl winning Odell, and then we got the new addition, Zay, and he looked phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate on Zay, the rookie. I know he's a rookie, but people are saying a lot of good things about him. What impresses you most about what you've seen from him?
How shifty he is. Great hands to catch the ball, knife up the field. He's explosive guy.
Now, I know, Lamar, that contract situation took a long time. Just what were your emotions once it was done and you knew you were going to be a Baltimore Raven?
I was just grateful, you know, to God be all the glory. You know, I was just grateful for, you know, us finally getting the deal done, and I'm being in Baltimore the next 5 years.
Well, as always, thank you for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you week 1.
I appreciate you, Ms. Lisa, as always.
Joe.
Lisa, thank you. And we were coming back from commercial. Odell Beckham was back there having fun, throwing stuff at Lamar before they came on camera. That's how you win an Emmy. Lisa just as a pro. Here's Brissett out to his right. He is going to pick up the first down. Here's the hard thing for the Ravens. As you look at this number, I mean, people gave Lamar Jackson trouble for representing himself. He might have a second career as an agent. He got $185 million guaranteed He is fourth on that list, still led by Deshaun Watson and right in front of Jalen Hurts of the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. But he got his money, and now he's got work ahead of him to try to assimilate into this new system employed by Todd Monken.
Yeah, there was a time this offseason where it didn't look like they were going to upgrade at wide receiver or have a franchise quarterback.
Nice move. De'Ami Brown is spinning around and has another first down. 17 yards.
You know, and I mentioned the relationship that Lamar Brown and OBJ had, and once they signed Odell and what that might have led to. But I think the other part of that equation was when Jalen Hurts signed his deal. I think it provided a framework in order for the Ravens to be able to cut a deal, because essentially it said that the Deshaun Watson contract was a bit of an outlier. And now, well, you talk about being optimistic coming into the season with what all they have on the offensive side of the ball.
Pass caught by Byron Pringle, formerly with Kansas City, and there with Eric Bieniemy, a gain of 5.
You know, we heard Lamar also talk about learning the offense. One thing that's been a little different for Lamar in training camp has been that there was a time where Todd Monken did not allow him to use the wristband in order to learn the offense and then visualize the play as it's being called. And he said he'll use it some in the season, but they're not going to call everything off the wristband.
Nice run and a first down picked up by Jonathan Williams, a gain of 9. Todd told us there will be a wristband, there will be plays on it, but as far as the basics, and it's something you agreed with, being a longtime quarterback in this league, make him call the offense, make him call the play, and make him, as you said, visualize it in the huddle.
I did it visually my whole career until my last couple, because of who we had calling the plays. It was more comfortable for him. And I didn't like using the wristband. I think you lose sight of really visualizing the play as you call it, as you walk to the line. It sets you back a little bit, in my opinion. There are others who have had great success with it.
Brissett throws behind Brown. And Brown gets hit in the back of the head. And now down on one knee.
I think the last part of that, Joe, is this, that Lamar Jackson is a bigger part. He's a huge part already, obviously, with what he's done. But now he's taken on more as far as wanting to have more control in the passing game, wanting to air it out a little bit. And with a new coordinator, the quarterback has to be as invested in the offense as what he is. And that's going to determine how successful ultimately they are. And all signs so far are that he's picking it up and things are going well.
Here is one floated and caught by Chris Rodriguez. A gain of 4. We have an update on Terry McLaurin. He had x-rays on his right big toe, and the x-rays were negative. So that is a nice note.
Yeah.
Good to be able to say for somebody who we've always enjoyed watching, as he's in his 5th year now, former 3rd-round pick. There were a lot of scouting departments that had to answer questions how they didn't have Terry McLaurin on their board higher than a 3rd-round pick.
What a steal, right? For the 3rd-round pick to be able to get a guy of his caliber.
Brissett out to his right, throws behind Milne.
And there's probably some people at home, maybe even a few people in some of these skyboxes and on that sidelines that are wondering why Terry McLaurin was playing tonight. But I like that they're putting him out there with Sam Howell. I like these teams, no matter how veteran your quarterback is. I like to see those guys get a few reps. I think it helps. But they're obviously, especially with the salaries, what they are. You're constantly guarding about getting to week 1 with a healthy roster.
This is a thing of beauty. That snap literally dribbled its way back to Tress Way, and somehow he picked it up, got it on its end, and Joey Sly hit from 49.
You mean that's not how it's supposed to be snapped?
Look at that. Wow. 1-point game. Baltimore up. To get it back. There they are, those players. I believe, I've been told the entire team is here. Don't know if that's in fact the case, but get to it here in 1 second as the Ravens are about to get the ball back. leading by 1 with 3:48 left in the third. This is Keaton Mitchell. You saw that good run he had from the running back position, and now over the right side, spins his way out near the 28. Well, as part of the Commanders Play Football campaign, Washington announced a $75,000 donation to Digital Pioneers Academy. You saw the players to assist in the launch of its first ever football program in June. You saw the players, legends, and staff meet with the student athletes to be part of the school's inaugural football season this upcoming fall. It's a public charter school in D.C. that educates students from low-income communities that are most at risk for dropping out. It's a great story, and good that the Washington Commanders are doing what they can, as they do it not just with their checkbook, but with staffing that practice and making sure those kids know that they're valued.
Yep, absolutely. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Here is a handoff to Owen Wright. First time he's touched the ball tonight. We go down to, I don't know, the star of the game with Lisa Salters.
Thank you, Joe. Sam, I'm going to ask you, how do you think you played tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought we did some good things. I thought there was a lot of things that we could have done a better job of, things I could have done a better job of. You know, I took 2 bad sacks that were my fault, so we'd like to not have those plays. But, you know, I'm proud of my guys. We kept fighting. We're able to put some good drives together.
You took that 1 sack in the first quarter, but then you came back and made that big completion for a first down. It was a small sequence of events, but tell me, what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this all camp long. We got to be resilient. You know, when bad plays happen, you know, we have an opportunity the next play to make up for it. And we did that a couple times tonight, but I think overall we just gotta be a little more clean than we were.
Now, coming into camp, what did you want to show to just kind of prove the confidence that Ron Rivera had already had in you? What did you want to show that you deserved to run this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think just coming out every day, I wanted everybody to trust me. I wanted this organization to trust me. I wanted my teammates to trust me. So just trying to come in every day and work as hard as I can and just try to be the best player I can be, and kind of let my play do the talking.
Expectations. What does a successful season look like for you personally and for the city?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is we take it one step at a time. We take it one day at a time. And we're going to take it one game at a time, and we're going to try to win every single game. And we expect to win every game. Every time we step on this field, we expect to win. And, you know, if we do that, we'll see where that takes us.
You said this is your dream. Can you put into words how excited you are to be getting this?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm just so blessed and so blessed by God just to be given this opportunity. So I'm going to do everything I can to try to make the most of it.
Good luck to you, Sam.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. Thanks to Sam. What a nice night for the young quarterback. 1 NFL start that counted under his belt. Named the starter this past week, and he's showing all he can do tonight. He did. His night's over, and it was impressive. Did take a couple of sacks. He said those are on him. But he also threw some great passes and celebrated with his teammates, who right now trail by 1.
Does Lisa have more interviews with?
We're back, and there's a couple of injuries to update you on. First of all, De'Ami Brown got hit in the back of the head as he tried to make a sliding catch. He went into the blue tent and was getting looked at. Caillou Kelly is the one who delivered that hit to the back of the head. And then on the other side, we saw, it looks like De'Ami's okay. We saw Keaton Mitchell go to the sideline, and they were looking at him a moment ago. He's the running back and kick returner for the Ravens, and a guy who's been impressive here tonight, been impressive in camp, and they had to take him into the dressing room.
Yeah, obviously you hate to see any of that, but Keaton Mitchell, you're right. I mean, one of those guys who's, you know, a bit of a long shot, and he's getting his opportunity. And then De'Ami Brown, who they're definitely going to be relying on. Ball's out.
Ball's out. A fumble by Rodriguez, picked up and back the other way. Out of bounds on the fumble return, as DeAndre Houston Carter was there with the gift takeaway on the fumble by Chris Rodriguez Jr., a 6th-round pick from Kentucky.
Well, let's take a look at it as he comes in. There's the, well, where's it? Right there where it comes out.
Malik Ham knocked it out. And Houston Carson there to pick it up. But 59 Ham is the one who kind of knocked it out.
Yeah, a lot of guys grabbing at it at that point, and Ham being the one who gets it out. But boy, Chris Rodriguez, he's another guy that they were looking forward to. But well, you start putting the ball on the ground, that really diminishes your opportunities of making a roster.
Brown is going to carry it forward and pick up 3. Only 1 fumble last year at Kentucky, his last year there for Chris Rodriguez Jr. And we'll be thinking about that going to sleep tonight.
Yes, he will.
That note compliments of John Parolin, who's out on the road with us in 2023.
Oh, Pylon.
You've dubbed him Pylon. It's good to have him here. He works.
First time I met him, he told me his name was John Parolin. I said, how would you feel if I call you Pylon?
I don't know if that's how it went. I think he just said, oh, okay, Pylon. Here's Wright, Owen Wright, who's kind of taken over now for Keaton Mitchell. 3rd down coming up after a gain of 4. Trying to keep this winning streak alive, folks. 24 in a row. Dating back to 2015.
Pretty funny talking to John Harbaugh about the streak, and you know, a lot of luck, as he said, involved in that.
Nice play. Wright swallowed up. Owen went nowhere, and Milo Eifler was there. Actually, Milo is how he wants his first name pronounced, and Milo just made a play.
Milo, do it right.
Got to do it. That's right. Melo made it right, and I'm going to do it right. That's the end of quarter number 3. 21-20. Ravens with the streak on the line, leading by 1. All right, here it is. The last time the Ravens lost a preseason game was on September 3rd of 2015 to the Falcons. We all remember Bryn Renner hitting Daniel Brown for a 10-yard touchdown with 40 seconds left in the game to pull the Ravens within 1, but the 2-point conversion pass to Kiero Small fell incomplete. Baltimore loses 20-19. The Ravens since have gone on to win 24 consecutive preseason games, 5 of those coming against the Commanders franchise, and they lead by 1 going into the 4th quarter. It's 4th down, and well, instead of taking the easy chip shot, they're going to try and do a little bit more. The hard count.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 64. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Results in a 1st down.
Isaiah Mack, who's just added to the roster this week, came across right there.
Oh, man. 4th down, you get him on the hard count.
First and goal, and swallowed up in the backfield is Owen Wright. And that play made by Andre Jones, and this kid has really shown something. A rookie 7th-round pick. They thought he was going to be a project, and he's come in a lot more polished and ready to go than they even expected. He has opened some eyes.
Yes, he has, and it helps when you don't get blocked, yes. But he really has opened a lot of eyes, and he's just a raw guy. He played in a 2-point stance in college, so something as simple as just putting your hand in the ground is new for him.
2nd down and goal. Brown flushed out, throws it away. Andre did not run at the combine because he had a hamstring injury, so he didn't get a chance to show how fast he is. As I said, a 7th-round pick. He's 6'5", 258, 17.5 career sacks spread over 6 years in college, 7.5 in his final season at Louisiana, and they've found something here.
Yeah, well, he's got just prototypical size and length at 6'5" and 258, and his explosion off the edge. He's just got to learn a few things, but he continues to grow.
3rd and goal, end zone, touchdown, and the second of the night for Vokolek. The conversion on 3rd and goal, an 8-yard throw to the free agent from Nebraska.
Well, this is a pretty good look at what the quarterback sees, and he turns it loose. You see, you got to fit that in there. He'd like that ball a little bit out in front of him, but because Vokolek does such a good job at setting his angle to the post, even a throw that's kind of on that back shoulder, he's able to make a play on it.
What a night.
Well, he's one of those guys as well. When we asked John Harbaugh, as they go for 2 points here, put this out of reach with a 2-possession game, but he was one of the guys that Harbaugh singled out and said he really wanted to see something from, and he's gotten that.
Johnson and Brown now 2 touchdown passes each. Plenty of time on the play clock. Looked like a false start.
Well, that changes things.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still playing the try. This attempt will be for 1 point from the 20-yard line.
It's Daniel Fa'alele.
Yeah, right on the end here. It doesn't take much. Yep, just you lean back and they get you.
So that changes the mind and the approach, and now the extra point instead of a 2-point try. And Tucker, who, I mean, has there ever been anybody better at his job than Justin Tucker?
You.
Oh my gosh. All right. 8-point game in Lando. One, you can call a fair catch now, and even if on a kickoff, and even if you're inside the 25, the ball's coming out to the 25. And 2, on a 4th down, if a team doesn't get it and they go for it on 4th down, they review it.
Yeah, those are the 2 big playing rule changes. We struggle with space and speed, you know, punt plays, kick plays. So we're still trying to figure out a way, keep the foot in the game, but make the play safer. And this year you have the 1-year rule. If you could do the fair catch, we'll give it to you at the 25.
Here's a nice throw by Brissett as he tries to climb on the list of quarterbacks working well tonight, as Kyrie McGowan makes the catch for 14. And the reason why this came in, again, for 1 year with a fair catch rule, is we've seen more of those pop-up kicks, which has led to more returns. And on kick returns is when you get the highest percentage of head injuries.
Right, you've got the space and the speed, and they're trying to reduce the concussions on that play.
Certainly not perfect. I think everybody agrees it's just a stopgap to see where it goes from here as they try to make the game safer, as Milne makes the catch.
Yeah, that's been one of the plays, like you said, that not just this year, but I know the league's taken a hard look at it for a long time, trying to figure out what exactly they can do to keep that a part of the game and yet somehow minimize the injuries that Joe talked about.
Exactly.
Points of clarification for the season: use of helmet, roughing the passer, which obviously gets a lot of attention year after year, assisting the runner. Maybe we should have brought that to light with what we've seen the Eagles do a lot of. You can push from behind, but you can't pull.
Yeah, the Philly tush push.
Yes.
Still legal. And what they found was the impact of more first downs versus not when teams weren't doing it was not a huge big difference.
Yeah.
Not a big increase.
I'll be honest, that one surprised me a little bit. I really thought watching that last year that would be ruled out of the game.
Right.
Brissett. Hands off to Rodriguez, trying to put the fumble in the rearview mirror.
He sure is. See how he's holding the ball there, and he's obviously, like you said, Joe, he's going to be thinking about that all night and probably all week. But he's trying to make amends for it, giving him the ball now and running tough.
Second down as Jonathan Williams now checks in and Rodriguez out, getting some water.
You want me to get you a stool? You want to sit here? How long you want to stay here?
Play-by-play here for you. Here is Williams, and a nice play made by Tay Hayes as he came up to make the stop. A loss of 1. All the while, Lisa Salters has been standing by with an interview guest. Sorry for the awkwardness there, Lisa. Take it away.
No worries. I'm with Ravens tight end Mark Andrews. Mark, I'm curious about this preseason win streak thing. What do you guys as players really think about it?
I think for us, just being here for a little while, it's a credit to the organization, how we practice and how versatile and deep of a team we have. Coach Harbaugh, Steve Bisciotti, from the top down, it's a great organization, and we work hard.
And it means something to you?
Pardon me?
Does it mean something to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we take pride in working hard in training camp and winning games.
You just got the ball back. Your offense is coming back on the field. Just what can you tell us about this new offense with your new offensive coordinator?
It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. We have a lot of playmakers. Obviously, our quarterbacks are going to play amazing. We're excited for 8 in the season that he's going to have. But there's so many guys, from our running backs to our receivers to our tight ends. We're going to be a deep and versatile team, and it's going to be hard to stop.
What's your role in this new offense going to be?
Just make plays. I just want to win. I want to be there for my teammates, be a leader, and help this team to win games and, hopefully go all the way.
And what's it going to mean for number 8, for Lamar, to not just have you to rely on, but a healthy Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers? Yep. Just what's it going to mean for him?
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be, he's going to be able to dish the ball out to so many playmakers, and that makes his life a lot easier. And for us, it's just about helping number 8 out. And when you have a guy like that back there, you can win some games.
Thank you, Mark. Have a great season.
Thank you, Miss Lisa.
All right.
He's so good, Mark Andrews, 3-time Pro Bowler. He's been an All-Pro. He's just awesome, and he is such a security blanket for Lamar Jackson. Let's go back to the interception by Tay Hayes on this throw that was behind the tight end.
John Bates is who he's trying to get the ball to, and he has a chance. John Bates actually runs a good route, something that they really wanted to see from him tonight as well. And if he just lays it out to the sidelines and Hayes, he just gets a gimme right there, and that's something that's been a strength really of Jacoby Brissett's throughout his career. He's always done a good job protecting the football. That was just not a good throw at all.
Tay Hayes, who got the pick, was claimed 8 days ago, so he gets a moment here early with the Ravens on their roster. A loss of 1 here on the carry by Owen Wright. It brings up 3rd and 8.
Go back to Mark Andrews, and the guy who really has been the security blanket for Lamar Jackson ever since he started playing, and rightfully so. I mean, you know how much I love Mark Andrews, and I don't think that's really going to change a whole lot. I mean, he's still going to be a favorite of Lamar Jackson's, even with these wide receivers that they have. I just can't imagine getting away from him too much.
Brown out to his right, looking for somewhere to go, and along the sideline, incomplete to bring up 4th down.
If anything else, Joe, it's just going to open a lot more up for him because of the attention that these others are going to get. And, of course, you draw the parallels and the comparisons of, okay, he's going to be the Travis Kelce. He's kind of been the Travis Kelce already, even, already with the things that they're doing.
They've got 4 guys they like. Likely really blossomed last year. Isaiah Likely's dealing right now with a bruised knee. Charlie Kohler's made a couple of catches in this game. And Vokalek, the rookie, free agent from Nebraska, has got 2 touchdown catches. Here is Kazmir Allen on the return, and he spins his way out across the 40. 58-yard punt, 20-yard return. 8-point game. Commanders going back to work, trying to do something about this 24-game win streak by the Ravens in the preseason. to Derek Gore, and a nice carry to start this possession for the Commanders, who trail by 8. And I'm going to rank them in order of importance. Aaron Rodgers, Hard Knocks. The Mentalist is number 2 on my list. And Liev Schreiber, the voiceover, the voice of God, as Aaron Rodgers has said 41 times, is number 3.
Pretty cocky coming in on a helicopter, huh?
I had a show once at HBO. Didn't really end all that well. Fromm, paging Jake Fromm, a 5th-round pick by the Bills back in 2020. He was with the Giants in 2021. He's been with the Commanders since last year. 3 games of NFL experience and 60 pass attempts. He has thrown a touchdown in the NFL and had a really highly decorated collegiate career at Georgia. 2nd down and 10. This is tipped and incomplete, with Derek Gore the target. Somebody got his hand on it. I'm going to give it to that guy, Kaim Caesar, even though I don't know if it was him.
Well, if the streak is going to end, let's see if it was.
Bingo.
Yep. Good job, Garrity.
He was not involved in that play. That was all me taking a guess.
I'm going to say, if the streak is going to end for the Baltimore Ravens, it's going to be Jake Fromm that gets it done.
Maybe John Perry can run down there and throw some flags. Slow down the Ravens. On 3rd down, Fromm dancing around, finds a receiver and gets a 1st down as the grab is made by Kyrie McGowan. Gain of 12. Nice play by Jake Fromm.
Yeah, and McGowan, these things just don't happen coming back to the ball like he did on that play. He just recognizes that his quarterback is in trouble, and then he works all the way back into his vision. As you're going to see, he works back in towards the middle right there and gives his quarterback a place to go. There's so many times you see a quarterback who's in trouble, receivers just don't really know how to uncover themselves, and that's worked on in practice.
Here's a good throw for another completion. After McGowan, now it's Mitchell Tinsley, and they really like him. Mitchell with a good release off the line of scrimmage. And when we talked to Terry McLaurin, he said the guy who's constantly in my ear asking me questions about the offense, about the NFL, is Mitchell Tinsley. That would be a good guy to check in with if you're Tinsley talking about McLaurin.
Yeah, absolutely. And just really what they talk about is just how great he is getting off the line of scrimmage like you talked about.
Here is Patterson getting the ball, and he's a yard short. 3rd and 1 coming up.
Well, these are good moments for Jake Fromm and Mitchell Tinsley and all the other players that are out there on the field right now, just getting an opportunity. And whether it works out for them with Washington or for those guys that are out there playing defensively right now for the Ravens, you know, they're putting their play on the tape, and these scouts and general managers are watching those, and they get a chance. It may not work. Oftentimes it doesn't for a lot of these players that are right on the cusp and on the bubble. That doesn't work out for the team they went to camp with, but they get picked up and they go on and they have fine careers.
Handoff for the 1st down as Derek Gore picks it up and keeps rumbling. So here are the Commanders with a 1st down inside the 20 at the 16-yard line, down by 8 with under 5.5 to go. Patterson back in. Gore checks out. Eric Bieniemy told us it's been fun seeing it come together, watching guys grow. We need to give our team a chance to have a chance. And a good showing tonight by Eric Bieniemy's crew on offense. Hand off to Patterson, and Trenton Simpson makes that tackle, a gain of just 1.
You know, and then Eric Bieniemy, you're right, Joe, and he's
he's been on the sidelines when he was at Kansas City. He's going to be on the sidelines here with Washington and wouldn't have it any other way. Said he just, there's a lot of play callers, Norv Turner being one of them, who was a head coach. Of course, if you're calling plays, you're down on the sidelines. But as soon as you're an offensive coordinator, they'd go upstairs. And guys see it pretty well. There's Todd Monken, who would call, he doesn't want to be down there on the sidelines. He finds it more relaxing, not emotional, but all the things that he wants to be upstairs for are the reasons why Bieniemy wants to be on the sidelines.
Pass is caught. Patterson, flag on the play. Patterson stayed in, touchdown. But a flag is down. And somehow Jared Patterson did not step out. At least that's the call now.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense, number 30. Washington has elected to enforce that penalty on the try. Result of the play is a touchdown.
It's against Trenton Simpson right there, and then you watch Patterson tiptoe down the sideline.
Yeah, their boy. Definitely has the grab. There's where I thought he went out. Clearly he does not, but nobody just able to get him out those next couple yards before he's able to get across the goal line. And the Washington Commanders are going for 2 in a preseason game. You don't see this a lot.
No.
Coaches will kick the extra point, just say, okay, whatever it is, it is. None of them want to stay on the field and get more snaps in an overtime game, but there's still plenty of time on the clock, and Rivera's going for it.
From the 1 after the penalty. From keeps wide open. Tackle made by Caillou Kelly. And he denies the tie. Alex Arma was wide open, and Kelly just closed it down and made the stop.
Yeah, that was big time. That was big time. And by the way, John Perry just reminded me there's no overtime in preseason.
No. I know you want to stay longer, but not tonight.
Oh, man. That's a big-time play.
Kelly is a rookie 5th-round pick from Stanford. And, boy, did he make a play out on the edge to show up on the stat sheet and, I think, open some eyes with that strong tackle on Alex Arma, who's 6'1", 255.
Yeah, you could see it even on the tackle. The difference in size between the two of them. And, those type collisions down there, they typically go to the bigger man, but Kelly did his job.
These two organizations went at it this past week in Owings Mills, and the Commander players were saying they were going to end the winning streak for the Baltimore Ravens. Sam Cosmi was talking about it. Harbaugh was aware of it. So while we kind of laugh about it, you heard Mark Andrews say it. It's good coaching, which you would think is the case, and a deep, well-scouted roster that allows them in the second half of games to be competitive and be better than the backups that are on the other side.
That's a fact. That is true, because you're playing all these young guys, and a lot of them, of course, aren't going to make the team, but it really does shine a light on the depth that you have on that roster. So when you're winning preseason games the way that the Ravens have, it's exactly what you said, Joe. And he mentioned the organization. We've been covering the Ravens for a long time under John Harbaugh, and talking whether it was Ozzie Newsome or now Eric DeCosta. And you don't find an organization that is respected more universally amongst football people with their structure and how they're run.
Here's Brown breaking loose out of bounds at midfield, and a 25-yard carry by the first-year player from Oregon.
Not bad. That looked like that old offense that we used to watch.
Yeah. We've talked a lot tonight about Odell Beckham Jr. and signing that one-year deal. Missed all of last season, got injured in the Super Bowl, tore his ACL, worked his way back, thought he might get on a roster at the end of last season, didn't happen. He has been nothing short of sensational. These players and coaches will tell you since he's come to the Ravens organization. And I know, Lisa, you had a chance to talk to Odell Beckham Jr. about how things have gone with Baltimore.
Yeah, Joe, he said he really did want to play last season, but kind of knew deep down that he wasn't ready, just needed more time to get healthy. And now that he got that time, he says he really feels good. He said, I may not be the guy from 2014, I may not be that 22-year-old beast, but I still have my gears that I can go to. And he said, I'm a lot faster than people might think. And I asked him, why Baltimore? He said he really had been leaning towards the Jets because he loves Aaron Rodgers and wanted to play with him. But he said that there was just something about this Baltimore team that was pulling him in this direction. He says he's happy now, he's healthy, he just can't wait to get back on the field week 1.
Yeah, Lisa, when we talked to Todd Monken, we talked to obviously John Harbaugh, they just have raved, not just about how he's come back from injury and now he's showing burst and speed. You know, John Harbaugh said he ran a play in against us when he was with the Giants. He's still thinking about. Yeah. So he's shown a lot of those old flashes, but he's also taken on a leadership role with a lot of these younger players like Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
guys like that.
John Harbaugh had a front row seat a few years back.
A lot of hand checking, no flag. Downfield, injured now is Dante Demas Jr. And Demas unable to get up. Leaning on his elbow. And Dante, a rookie free agent out of Maryland. Check on Demas. Here's that front row seat that John Harbaugh had with Odell Beckham Jr., whose first 3 years in the league were as good as anybody's ever have been.
Boy, a quarterback's best friend when you can take a slant route like that and make it a house call. Yeah, it's what John Harbaugh said. I don't know if he's as fast as he was on that play in 2016, but he's not far off it. They have really been impressed with how he has looked.
Giants won that game 27-23, had 222 receiving yards, a career high in that game. That was week 6 of 2016. And a throw from ESPN's Eli Manning, hitting him in stride. And as a member of the Giants, you know, he's been through a lot. You know, he's talked about how that game plan was really set up for him to shine in the Super Bowl. While with the Rams, he got off to that good start, had a touchdown, and then tore his ACL. 4th down, and the punt coming with Kaz Allen waiting as Jordan Stout hits it. And Kazmir with a fair catch at the 9. Well, this is on everybody's mind these days, and you can help people affected by the Hawaii wildfires. Donate now at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and to help people recover. redcross.org/ESPN. You can donate now. And now the Commanders take over with the ball at their 9, down by 2. Bob Papa, as good as they get, radio voice of the New York Giants, texted me and said, I'm oddly interested in this win streak to see if it actually continues or if it ends here tonight. So, Bob, this drive I'm dedicating to you. 2:54 to go in what has been a really fun and really entertaining and really well played preseason football game here in week 2. Fromm floats it downfield and off the hands of Curtis Hodges. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, just had a chance. Yeah, he's, when you make that throw and you think you're going to come down with the completion and it just doesn't quite happen, and maybe if he was able to free up that right arm, maybe he is able to get to it just a little bit sooner, but good effort on his part.
He was on IR last year, Hodges. He is big. He's 6'8". Tight end, 240. Huge catch radius, and they like him a lot. He gets an opportunity, and now before this play gets rolling, penalty flags. Here's the call.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Correction, penalties half the distance to the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
Aaron Montero guilty of the false start. And that takes the ball back to the 5. From quick setup and throw, and the pass is caught. That's Hodges. Able to haul this one in for a 7-yard gain as we are approaching the 2-minute warning here in Landover.
That's some of what we've seen from the Commanders under Eric Bieniemy in, the things that he's brought from the Chiefs and how they would isolate the tight end to one side and throw some of those routes, put the receivers to the field, and that's what we see from Hodges there. But we've seen it from Cole Turner. We saw it earlier in this game. We saw it last week as well. They're going to have a role, and they've got depth. Assuming Logan Thomas can come back from his injury, which I assume he will, and stay healthy. They've got some quality players.
Pass is caught over the middle for a 1st down. And a 12-yard completion to Kazmir Allen with 1:58 to go. We at ESPN lost one of the best in June with the passing of director Kyle Brown. Kyle worked at the company for 16 years, was a deeply admired member of Monday Night Football, and our production team was coming back to help us this year. He will be remembered as a kind soul, a wonderful friend, and a loving and devoted husband and father.
He left a beautiful family behind, and I know everyone here at ESPN's thoughts and prayers are with him.
August 21st.
I mean, this is what you need. This is what you want. This is what you hope for, Scott. I'm intrigued as much as I am about the win streak here. Did he say Bill Belichick was talking about Taylor Swift?
That's right, Joe.
Did I hear that right?
That's right. We keep our finger on the pulse of America.
Yeah.
I didn't get a handshake from him today, though.
We're on to Taylor Swift. 2 minutes left. From nice throw, nice completion to Mitchell Tinsley. Washington, all 3 of their timeouts, down by 2. From in trouble and is able to throw it away and avoid the sack as he got pressure from Trenton Simpson, who's been all over the place here late.
It's a great job by Fromm. Draped on him, and he's able to get the ball out to avoid the sack. What are we looking at? What are we looking at here? 30 yards or so to get a chance at a... There it is right there. He gets it out of his hands. A really nice job on his part.
Brings up 3rd down and 11 from able to keep it alive and then missed Hodges. Had Hodges wide open and the throw just too high. It's 4th down.
He did the hard part. He avoided the rush and kept the play alive. And if he just lays it, there's a chance. You can see as he comes out of the pocket here to the right that there's a lot of space. If he can just lay the ball and they catch this, there's room to run.
4th down and 11. Timeout taken by Baltimore. Just in case you're wondering, Jake Fromm's last comeback win was a 2018 Rose Bowl win in overtime over Oklahoma. So it's been a while in this position, and he'll be thinking about that miss to tight end Curtis Hodges.
I want to know what Harbaugh is thinking about over there on the sidelines when we showed him. He's got a little grin on his face.
Well, the streak is alive because of this. At the end of the game, Ardarius Washington denying the 2-point try and getting the pick. And then tonight, another defensive back, Caillou Kelly, 5th-round pick from Stanford, making the tackle on Alex Arma to deny the tie. Here in this 4th quarter, it comes down to 4th down and 11. With a chance to extend the preseason winning streak to 25. From receiver, and a flag will keep this going. That was Bryson Tremaine, got caught up with Corey Mayfield. And the flag flew.
Pass interference. Defense, number 39. Spot foul, automatic first down.
Well, this was an easy call. Fromm got blown up in the pocket. There was the grab. But Fromm, he hangs in there, and he took a pretty good hit, turning that one loose.
2-point game. Minute 4, 3 timeouts for the Commanders. Here's one complete. Bryson Tremaine to midfield for 14. .45 to play. Fromm going for it all, and downfield incomplete. Tinsley.
Now, there's still all kinds of time. They're just playing against the downs right now with 3 timeouts, and they need 15 yards. 15 yards from where they are now for a chance to kick a 53-yard field goal.
Joey Sly, who just saw the team release Michael Badgley yesterday. Sly has won that kicking battle, it appears. He may get a chance to win it tonight. Play clock was at 1, 2nd and 10. Passes caught inside the 45 by Casimir Allen. And the Commanders will take the timeout.
Pretty soft coverage. That was it was a good read by Fromm. Real easy completion, and still plenty of time. They got the whole playbook, of course, with the 2 timeouts.
Career long for Joey Sly. Didn't think we'd be talking about this or freaking out about it. 58 yards, which means getting the ball to the 40. They're 4 yards away from that.
Yeah, you didn't think you'd be talking about that. I didn't think I'd be breaking down strategy with 30 seconds left in a preseason game.
Typically, you're packing your briefcase. I'm on my own. Instead, drama. On the 21st of August, week 2 of the preseason, 3rd down and 4. Now the Ravens will take a timeout. John Harbaugh gave us a little smile when we brought it up to him.
He did.
And like Lisa said early in the pregame report, when we said, why do you think he won 24 in a row? Yes, he did say luck, and then he said, and a few other things. But I think it's important to him that they win this game and this thing stays alive.
I think it's important to all these players.
Nick Sirianni was aware of it at the end of the Philly game we just showed you, and he said he wanted to be the one to end that win streak. So they went for 2, and the play was made by Ardarius Washington.
They changed the coverage from what they showed prior to that timeout. They were singled up. Now they got the safeties back here deep.
Pass caught. First down. Clock winds. Washington takes the timeout as Bryson Tremaine made the grab. And you've got 25 seconds left. 1 timeout. And they are on the outer edges of field goal range now for Joey Sly.
Pretty route there by Tremaine. Just gets him running, gives him a chance.
Our second quarter guest and new managing general partner Josh Harris down on the field, wondering, he already got a game ball last week in week 1 of the preseason. Should have asked him when he was here what he did with that, if it's up on the mantle or in his trunk or wherever it is. He's got his sights set on more than preseason wins, but his team has really shown a lot here tonight. Both sides have. From Howell to Brissett to Fromm.
Here they come. Here come the Ravens. They're all up there.
You think they don't want the streak to continue? Floated, caught, and now dropped. Tinsley had it, and now they're finally saying incomplete. Had it and then lost it.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Incomplete pass, 2nd down.
And Rivera's asking him to check. It was knocked out at the end of that play by Ardarius Washington, I believe.
Yeah, Ardarius Washington is the guy, and he's injured
there.
And they're tending to him now. I thought maybe he got a hand on it, but I'm not so sure. Tinsley has a chance. A perfectly thrown ball by Fromm, but right now really the only concern for Baltimore and John Harbaugh is Ardarius Washington. He'd hate to see another defensive back go down in this one.
John Perry, you like the call of no catch?
Yeah, incomplete pass. As that 3rd step comes down, the ball comes loose. Hopefully they'll reset the game clock because they did let a couple steps go.
So it's an incomplete pass. Washington made a really good play. Going to play some nickel. Listed as a safety. Will go inside with the injuries at corner. They added, the Ravens did, Ronald Darby during the week. Had a torn ACL last year with Denver, former 2nd-round pick, and he'll get involved here. Washington able to get up. He just made the play to keep the streak alive for the moment as he knocked that out of the hands of Tinsley.
Well, you bring the all-out blitz like that, and then you see a play. You're not able to get to the quarterback, and you have an opportunity. Washington did to basically win the game with a chip shot field goal. What does Mike McDonald do here? Does he give that same look, force the ball out of Fromm's hand? It looks like it. I mean, they've got 11 guys within 3 yards of the ball.
2nd and 10. Low snap. Good job by Fromm. Down the sideline, not there. That is Tinsley again. He's been a favorite target and a guy that has turned some heads this camp. And now with a 3rd down, you'd like to bite off some more yardage here at the least. You're looking at a 57, 58-yard try by Sly to win it if you don't get any more yardage here as Bieniemy dials it up. They do have 1 timeout left.
It's the greatest preseason game I've ever been a part of.
I will remember it for a long, long time. It's good.
Our
Enjoy
producer
it.
said it's the only one I've been a part of, so that is not true.
Thanks, Steve Ackles. Here's a pass caught underneath, out of bounds, short of first down yardage. But now 12 seconds, fourth down. Got to come with a kick here, and they will. And Sly will come out to try and win it and end the 24-game win streak in the preseason for the Ravens. It'll be a 49-yard try. We've already had 4 lead changes in this game. And timeout taken by John Harbaugh. Or at least they blew it dead. Thought Harbaugh maybe called a timeout. Here's a call from Ron Torbert.
Washington called his third and final charge timeout at the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
They're icing their own kicker. If this goes through, the win streak is over, and it would be lead change number 5 in what's been a really fun night here in Landover, Maryland.
The crowd is on their feet. This is good stuff.
All right, here we go. Kick is good. And with 9 seconds left, the Commanders are on top by 1. Nice moment for Joey Sly.
I mean, I know it's a preseason game, Joe, but I mean, you watch this crowd, and there's a lot of people who have left tonight with it being a preseason game and all that, but this feels good.
It does, and it does to him. Josh Harris, a 58-year-old. This is a team that, and an organization that hasn't won a playoff game since 2005 wild card game. They're looking for anything, and they've got a new ownership group. They've got a roster with a lot of talent on it, a young quarterback, a veteran head coach. This has been a special night here, as crazy as that is to say, on the 21st of August. They put a second back on the clock. 10 seconds remain. And Sly gets to celebrate. How about Jake Fromm getting him down into position? Did a nice job here tonight. The quarterback play, 5 deep total. 5 different players combined with the two sides have been outstanding. Brown going to air it out. It's intercepted. Picked off by Kendall Smith, and that'll seal it. The rookie and college free agent from Illinois ends this night with 1 second left on the clock. We'll have a snap. And the Washington Commanders will go to 2-0 this preseason and send the Ravens to 1-1 and snap the 24-game win streak in the preseason.
Well, nobody's expecting much from Washington going into this season. They're talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Giants and the NFC East, but there's some talent on this team, and these are the kind of moments, as crazy as it sounds, that you build on. It'll be fun to see what happens with this club, but this was a fun night.
29-28 is the final. And the win streak ends with the kick from Joey Slye from 49 yards away. What a night for Sam Howell. He was outstanding. SportsCenter's coming up next with SVP on September 11th. Don't miss our Week 1 Monday Night Football game as the Jets and Aaron Rodgers host Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Can't wait for that. Fun night tonight. SportsCenter with SVP coming up. So long from FedEx Field.